Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, ladies and gentlemen, boys. It is the DOUG here, and it's time for NFL Week 8 predictions. Let me turn down the volume on my phone so we don't get an echo. Of course, I am not alone. Of course, we have everyone's 49er fan who cannot blame it on the rain. Yeah, for their loss this past week against the Colts. It is Dave. Oh, we're going to talk about that game because I think the NFL should have did something, but we'll discuss that when we get to it. Also joining us, he is a happy man because not only did his Colts win this past Sunday, he actually has a one-game lead on me now in the picks. It is everyone's favorite MIB agent, the leader and founder of TCW. It is Mr. Jones.
That's Agent J.
I'm sure he's happy because it's that he's got the lead for now. We'll see what happens this week. So if you're new to this, you know what we do. If you're old, you know what we do to this. If you're new, we're gonna do a quick recap of last week's games, go over some of the games in a little bit more detail, go over the injury report because believe it or not, there's already a lot of injuries, particularly for tomorrow night's game, and something that involves the Chicago Bears a little bit, and of course the Deshaun Watson situation. And what Roger Goodell said yesterday at the NFL meetings, which, oh boy, he's a fucking idiot. But let's go over what happened this past week. On Thursday night last week, the Browns banged up, looking like a zombie, were able to take a bite out of the Broncos as the Browns got the WKRP Cincinnati now sits atop in the AFC as they are now, yes, the Bengals are now the number 1 seed in the AFC as they beat the Ravens. Packers pretty much handled their business against Washington. Titans obliterated the Chiefs. The Falcons somehow found a way not to choke as they beat the Dolphins. The Jets were murdered by the Patriots. My upset pick of the week was correct as the Giants found something they haven't been able to find a lot this year, a win as they beat the Panthers. Raiders beat the Eagles. Matthew Stafford got his revenge against Detroit as him and the Rams beat the Lions. Cards destroyed the Texans. The Bucks pretty much made the Bears look like a joke. The Colts can thank Milli Vanilli for their win against the 49ers. If you get that reference, congratulations. And the Saints are so thankful they do not have Geno Smith as they beat the Seahawks. So for me personally, I went 10-3 in week 7, and for the season, I am 30-37. So I'm having a great year so far.
Wait, how are you 30-37?
Because I was because last week I was 60-34.
Oh yeah, wow. Wow.
You gotta forgive Dave. It's getting close to Halloween, so he's looking at all the women dressed as sluts. And before somebody says that's sexist, let's be honest. I went to the Halloween store because I got me a costume because I'm going to a Halloween party Saturday, and almost all the women were getting sexy devils or angel outfits that could pretty much show off the halos, if you know what I mean. Dave, how did you do this past week?
I went 8-5.
All right, and
Wait, what's
37. And better, I'm way ahead of you.
55
Yeah, you're still in the basement, but like I said at the start, we do have a new leader in Mr. Jones because he had the best week this week as well. He won this week as he won 11-2, and he is 71-36. He's got that one game. Yeah. Let's see if he'll be able to keep that lead or if I'm going to steal it from you this games, because some of these games are important. Of course, let's start with probably the most shocking one of all. The Bengals beating the Ravens. Now, of course, I watched this game with my family because my mom is a Ravens fan. She was so... Oh, she was mad. Bengals, I think... Yeah, I think we had to give the Bengals credit because I didn't think they could win the game. And I know, Mr. Jones, you picked Baltimore as well. Dave was the only one who got it right because he did pick Cincinnati. But I am shocked, and that's all I can say. And I would say this as well, and this goes to the quarterback Joe Burrow. I don't know who's going to win Comeback Player of the Year now. It's either going to be him or Dak, because both of them will have a winning record right now in the NFL. Both of them are playing well. I mean, the only reason I could say you give it to Joe Burrow is because he's played more tougher games than Dak has at the moment. But I got to give credit to Joe Burrow. Because he got injured last year, this is his retribution, his year that he's trying to make a comeback from getting injured, and he's been playing great. And the Bengals are surprisingly one of the most shocking teams out of the AFC, because I don't think anyone expected them to be this good. They are the shocker of the AFC, and maybe the NFL. Anybody else got anything to add for the Bengals?
The Bengals.
I get what you're saying there. Next game I want to talk.
The Bengals offense, that rookie wide receiver, the
Oh yeah, that's helping Joe, because they used to be teammates in LSU, so that's helping. Next game, because we're only going to do a few games to recap real quick. Titans and Chiefs. Now, if anyone needed proof that Kansas City has a problem, this was the game. Patrick Mahomes is playing terrible, but it's not. I can't completely blame him, because the rest of his offensive weapons are not playing well, and that defense is the biggest issue. It is.
Josh Gordon.
It is the worst defense in the NFL. Hey, Mr. Demon. That it is. And we're going to be talking about the Chiefs later, because the funny thing is, because the Chiefs play the Giants on Monday night this week, so I don't know if we're going to have a good game or not, and we'll talk about that later. But what were you going to say, Dave?
Well, you'll see, the Chiefs should have won. Chiefs should have won these games, because you got Ryan Matthews, you got Tyrann Matthew, you got fucking Sorsen. They all should have been super. So they're like, oh, what's new?
Well, their defense is terrible.
The Titans, Joe. My grandma could have beat the Chiefs, Joe, and she's blind.
All right, I would talk about the Patriots and Jets, but I'm sorry, that game was a travesty to mankind. Giants and Panthers. Guess what? Panthers can't do anything without McCaffrey. So Sam Darnold, I gave you praise the first 3 weeks. Now you're shit. I'm trying to figure out what. Oh, okay. 49ers and Colts. Now this game I want to talk about. It doesn't even have to do with the teams per se, because I watched this game. Both these teams sucked. But I can't blame it on them, because let me say why. I watched that whole game. Both teams played terrible. Everyone's going to say it was a good defensive battle. No. It rained constantly. Apparently there was some kind of rain-nado happening in that area, to where there was flooding. It looked like the Colts Niners. Remember a few weeks ago when the Kansas City game got postponed because of the storm, right? This game should have been postponed to the next day, because it was raining so bad. People were intercepting or fumbling the ball so much, it looked like everyone decided to play Madden on rookie mode, arcade style. Do I think either team was impressive? Well, I give them credit. The running games were both teams for good, but when it's raining cats and fucking dogs, I expected it's one of those games, like, if you love bad weather football games, this is it, because the weather was bad. And then we get to Monday night, which was even worse for the Saints and Seahawks, because it was raining there. The only difference is the Saints didn't play as bad as Seattle. I think a lot of people are asking for that game to be at least postponed till Monday and just do a doubleheader because of the rain would have been cleared out for Monday because it would have been in Seattle at that point. So.
Jimmy G, you fucking dumbass. How you gonna throw the ball to that guy? There's 2 Colts receivers in the area. How you gonna throw to that? Oh, you stupid idiot guy.
Well, I will say this. I got to give a pass. Like I said, I'm getting.
We need a no. We were doing good, but then the Carson went to the fucking a thing from the longest yard.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yo, Jimmy G, how holding the damn ball too long, you know? And we can't go into the running back. No, we got all these damn players. Don't go out. No, chase it. Like, come on, dude.
Now, we'll see it.
And the Patriots wanted to trade Jimmy for second round pick. They said no. Like, come on.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens this week for those 2 teams because they both play this week. Just to give you a heads up, the Bears play the 49ers and the Colts play the Titans. But we're not getting into the picks just yet because injury report. Oh God, my leg. But first, before we get to that, there was a little bit of a shakeup today. Mark Ingram is no longer on the Houston Texans as he was traded back to an old team he used to play for in the New Orleans Saints. The Saints are getting an old Mark Ingram. I don't know what they're getting in the deal at the moment because I didn't read that much, but I think Mark Ingram's getting a blessing because he's going to a team that actually has a playoff shot. However, Brandon Cooks, who plays for the Texans, said this is bullshit, such a joke on Twitter. He's actually pissed off because now all the key big-name stars are gone. He's like the last one left besides Watson, which we'll get to later. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell doubled down Tuesday on the league's decision not to make public the results of its investigation into the workplace culture at Washington football team. Now, here's the thing. He ain't going to make them public. He's already said we're not going to make it. You have some owners who don't want it made public, and I hate doing this, but Jerry Jones, I think you're an idiot when you said all the owners are happy with the investigation and the NFL did a good job looking into Washington. Bullshit. No one is... all fans are pissed. They want to see it. Congress wants those emails released because they think it's not only Gruden got in trouble, and the people that were suing Washington are upset because they're like, we wanted the emails. We want the emails released because it's not fair that only Gruden got punished and nobody else. And
that's not fair.
The Raiders owner even said, if you knew about these emails, because here's the thing, the emails were known about by the NFL since the preseason. He's upset at the fact of why did the NFL wait so long just to release Gruden's name during the season. Now everyone's hating on the Raiders owner, but he's got a point. If the NFL knew that way before the season started, why would you wait? L. Davis' son. So he has a point, and even why would you wait that long to release the emails? I am just, to me, I'm going to say this NFL is hiding something because they don't probably want to get any owners in trouble. So do I think we're going to get the emails released? Probably not. There's a better chance of me, Dave, and Mr. Jones hooking up with an NFL cheerleader before that happens. Granted, in Dave's case, he probably has the easiest because he lives in Buffalo, and women are probably easier in Buffalo. I'm just saying. Yeah. All right. Moving to the more injury reports. J.J. Watt will be out for tomorrow night's game against the Packers as he has a shoulder injury. Bears Pro Bowler pass rusher Akeem Mack is not expected to play this week, and for his foot to heal, giving him 3 weeks.
You saying we have a chance to win in Chicago?
You have a chance, yeah, because he's going to be out for 3 weeks. He's on the injured reserve, so he won't be back till after the bye week, it looks like. Let's see. I know I have some others shared on my Twitter, so excuse me. Rams owner... we'll get to the Packers. Rams owner Stan K has angered NFL owners by possibly backing away from a promise to cover tens of millions of dollars in legal expenses related to his team's 2016 departure from St. Louis. He don't want to give that money back. Packers wide receiver Davian D. Adams is not going to be able to play tomorrow night, considering he still would need 2 negative COVID tests 24 hours apart. Also, Packers wide receiver Alan Lazard is out because he is unvaccinated and couldn't be cleared in time for the game tomorrow night. So Packers will be down 2 wide receivers. Also, the Jets head coach Robert S. announced that QB Mike White will start against the Bengals on Sunday, with Joe Flacco being the backup quarterback.
So, Washington has played that Mike Hart guy. Why don't you just play Joe Flacco? Come on, you know?
I have no idea, but we'll get to the Jets game because that game's kind of. Giant safety Jabal Peppers tore his ACL and will miss the rest of the season. He is in the final year of his contract, unfortunately. He injured it with the 25-3 victory against the Panthers, aka the game that looked like a baseball game for most of the fucking game. Chargers signed former Washington football team, aka Washington Redskins kicker Dustin Hopkins and Wave kicker Tristan Vazrosa. Also a quote from Roger Goodell yesterday. He said he believes Washington owner Dan Snyder has been held accountable for his actions. Bullshit. I think we can all say that. Bullshit. Also for you for you baseball fans out there, Braves won last night, and Ken Griffey Jr. Joins Mariners partnership group, so he now owns some of the Seattle Mariners. So congratulations to him. And probably some of the bigger news and. Yeah, I know. I try to avoid that because that's too much of an easy pun. And for you, it's alright. And for you video gamers out there, a rumored Wu-Tang Clan action RPG is reportedly in development. I figured I'd just throw that out there for anyone still listening.
Sure, I'll play that.
And here's the thing, of course, Wu-Tang Clan. Yeah, so, now here's the thing for you Eagle fans out there. I think I mentioned this a few nights ago, but I'll mention it again. They currently have a chance to have 3 first-round picks in the first round, depending on what happens with, what's his name they traded? Carson Wentz. And they also get a 6th-round pick from the Jets at the moment. The 49ers signed veteran safety Tony Jefferson to the practice squad. Of course, we've already mentioned it a few times, but Joe Flacco was traded to the Jets by the Eagles, so there's that. And that is pretty much all you need to know on that end. So, let's get to the picks. First game up. First game up is Thursday. Let's see who does well this week. First thing first, just for you baseball fans out there on Fox, Houston leads Game 2 right now, 6-2, top of the 7th. If they win, it will tie the series.
Come on, Braves.
Yeah, everybody's cheering for the Braves, but Texas and Delaware, which is kind of hilarious. Of course, tomorrow night, the first game of the week, it would be the Green Bay Packers at 6-1, taking on the Cardinals, who are 7-0. Historic, if they win tomorrow night, they would be the first time they've ever been 8-0 in franchise history. The best they've done is 7-0, so this would be a first for them. Now, Green Bay is favored to lose this game. Arizona's favored to win this by 6.5 points. But it is an interesting case because you do have the veteranship in Rodgers going up against a young quarterback, young coach. Both teams have some injuries and people who are going to be out because they got down with the sickness. You fuckers get up, come on, get down with the sickness. Sorry, I was watching the Resident Evil movies this morning before having to leave the house as well. Yeah, the live action. I don't mind those, but I'll save that for another stream. To me, personally, here's the thing. It's a short week. Both teams are kind of even in this sense because they're both missing a lot of key players on this side of the ball. Mostly for the defense for the Cardinals. I think that may hurt them here. Packers, while their defense has been not the greatest, it's done enough to stay in the game and let Aaron Rodgers do what he does best, beat you.
But the Cardinals got J.J. Watt. He don't.
He's out.
Anymore. They got Chandler Jones.
They
got motherfucking, I don't know who. There's some Chandler Jones on, so because he went to Syracuse.
I mean, so it's really one of those games where who do you trust? Do you trust
Yo,
the young Cardinals?
about the Cardinals.
Go ahead.
About the Cardinals. All this damn time, you had Aaron Fitzpatrick on your team. You guys don't know nothing with him. But once he leaves, we're going to Super Bowl. Poor guy.
Yeah. Now here's the entire injury list for anybody who for this game. For the Packers, they will be missing David B, offensive tackle. He's out. Wide receiver Marquez V. something is on injured reserve. Dennis Kelly's out. Was doubtful. Patterson Smith is questionable, and Kevin King is questionable. Of course, the other two wide receivers we know are out because they got down with the sickness, more or less. As far as for the Cardinals, Rashard Lawrence is questionable. Rudy Hudson, the center, is on injured reserve. DeAndre Hopkins is questionable. J.J. Watt is out. And Darrell Daniels, tight end, is questionable. That may be one of the reasons why they... ESPN does say the Cardinals had the best advantage to win, but, you know... I'm going to say this. I'm going to be a little bit crazy. This is one of my two upset picks for this week. I am taking on the road Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers to give the Cardinals the first loss of the year. Go, Packs, go!
Wow. Okay. Well, I was having a hard time like this shit. Like, I go for undefeated, or I go for Aaron Rodgers to the Colts. So... that wasn't my rival lose, just had lose. But I was like, I don't want to be here right win. So in my gut, I picked the Cardinals to go in it all over the Packers and upset victory.
So you got the Packers as well.
No, I got Cardinals.
Okay, so you're not taking the upset. You're taking the Cardinals at home because Cardinals are favored.
Yeah.
So we're 1-1 in this situation. So 1-1. So, Mr. Jones, you are the tiebreaker here. Are you taking the Green Bay Packers? You're going with the Cardinals, right? So I'm the lone man here. I mean, it makes sense if because of the. I will say if you're going with the defense because they're not as banged up, it makes sense. But man, Aaron Rodgers has been lights out since that Week 1 blowout. He's been playing angrily. That is true, Hulk smash. Well, if you want to switch your pick, I'm going to count down from 10 seconds. And whatever you pick after that, that would be your decision. 10, 9, So you're staying with the Cardinals. Okay, he's staying with the Cardinals. So, if I lose, that helps Mr. Jones. If Packers win, that helps me. Moving on to a game I think we're all going to agree about, so I'll try my best to hype this up. It is the Cincinnati Bengals, 5-2, taking on the 1-5 Jets. The Bengals have a 10.5 point advantage. They are saying Vegas is saying the Bengals will destroy the Jets. Jets are banged up. Zach Wilson's out for 2 to 4 weeks, so they're using a guy that most people couldn't find at all. When he replaced him, they were like, "Who the fuck is Mike White?" Most Jets fans were like, "Who's he?" And then when they get Joe Flacco, I'm sure they're like, "Oh great, Joe Flacco's back." Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't think the Jets have a chance in hell after how bad they got blown out against the Patriots last week. So, yeah, give me the Bengals over the Jets. And guess what? No, this is not my lock of the week. You know, it would make sense. But no, there's one game that's much, much more devastating. That's my lock of the week, which we'll get to later. But give me the Bengals on the road.
Alright. I got the GET They know I got the Bengals at home. Are they at home?
No, they're on the road, but even on the road, they're still favored to win by 10.5 points.
Well, I got the Bengals home for the Jets 100-0.
That could actually happen with how bad the Jets are playing. Mr. Jones, are you joining us in Cincinnati?
Now what? We all pick the Bengals. I think lose the Jets, right?
Oh, if they lose to the Jets, I am not forgiving the Bengals at all. I mean, it's a trap game, but come on. Up next, we head to Indianapolis as the Colts are at home taking on the Tennessee Titans. Now, here's the interesting thing in this game. The Titans, believe it or not, are not favored. The Colts are favored by a point, which is surprising. I would love to know who came up with that, because did we not just see the Titans kill the Chiefs? So, before we get to my pick and Dave's pick, Mr. Jones, you are the Colts fan here. Are you taking your Colts to win this game and get back-to-back wins?
It's not raining.
Whoa. Breaking news. This just in. Cardinals DN J.J. Wyatt will undergo what is now likely to be season-ending shoulder surgery. So he is done for the year, J.J. Wyatt. So, we'll see how the Cardinals defense does with that news tomorrow night. But anyway, back to you, Mr. Jones. Colts and Titans. So you're going for the Titans. Now, I would like to remind everyone, Saturday is Halloween, so this weekend is Halloween. I would love, since he picked the Titans to coach us magically, when he'll be like, but so you're going to the Colts. You're going to pick the Colts then. Okay. Well, I am picking the Titans. Did you not see what the fuck they did at Kansas City? Colts barely got by the 49ers, which you could say was because of the weather. And the Colts play in a dome, so the weather's not going to be a factor. I'm expecting King Henry, who's the cousin of Xavier King Woods, by the way, to obliterate the Colts defense. Give me the Titans here, and I would love to ask Vegas, how the fuck are the Colts favored by a point? Dave?
I got the Titans over Colts.
Alright, so far the only game we all agree on is Bengals and Jets. Moving on to a game we'll probably all agree on as well. Rams on the road against the Texans. Rams Matthew Stafford got a win over his former team in the Lions. Texans, well, does anyone give a fuck about Houston Texans anymore at this point? I think at this point you could actually put in SMU in the NFL. Hell, you could put the Alabama in their position and they would play better. You could put Syracuse as well, yes. Now here's the thing. The Rams are favored by 14.5 points. And here's the other thing. While I am taking the Rams, because I'm expecting this to be a murder-death-kill situation, Dave will be back, but I am taking the Rams here on the road. And no, this is not my lock of the week, because there's actually there's one game on here that is my lock. That is, well, probably the easiest one to make a lock, but give me the Rams over the Texans. Mr. Jones. Go ahead, Rams as well. Two for the... Yeah. Well, when he comes back, we'll ask him about any games he missed. Up next, now, we'll be honest, this was one of my harder games to pick. It is the Pittsburgh Steelers against the Cleveland Browns. Where did I put that on this damn thing? There it is. Okay, on my list. Okay, Dave's back. So, Dave, who do you got? Rams or Texans?
The Rams.
Yep, so no disagreements there. No one, everyone's like, fuck Houston. They can't do anything but play baseball. But this game is a hard one because of who the two teams are. It is the Steelers on the road against the Cleveland Browns. Browns are kind of banged up, but they played great against Denver. Steelers also looking see next year now. You know, he denied those rumors, but hey.
He denied. He said no.
Yeah, he denied them, but hey, guess what? If a bullfrog had wings, he wouldn't bump his ass.
You about to let me go to the store with the picks, so I'm gonna be on the phone with you guys when we walk to the store.
No problem.
Right.
Cleveland's favored by 3.5 points, and here's the thing. I trust them more than the Steelers right now because the Steelers have been up and down so much. I don't know which Steelers teams we're actually getting. Are we getting the still cutting Steelers or the fluff? Personally, I think Big Ben needs it to hang it the fuck up because he's looking like Undertaker versus Bill Goldberg from Crown Jewel. So give me the Browns here.
I got the Browns too.
2 for the Browns. Missed it. Alright. Fair enough. Now, yeah, I agree. They did show everyone something I should go into. Well, the game that might get me committed into an insane asylum. It is the Philadelphia Eagles going to Detroit to face the winless Lions. Now, Philly's favored by 3 points. Now, Detroit's been playing well. They just can't win it in the end. Philly, I'm going to be honest here, watching some of their games this year, I don't see any confidence in their team. I feel personally, looking at how their draft situation's looking, that they're purposely trying to tank. Because think about it. They already got 1 first pick automatically. They got Miami's. And they're getting Indianapolis if Carson Wentz plays 75% of the snaps. So there's a chance, depending how bad the Colts and Dolphins do, they get 3 picks back to back to back. Detroit's been trying to win. I don't think they want to go 0-17. They don't want that record. And I don't trust Philly that much. So, for my second upset pick of the week, I am taking the Detroit Lions at home to get the first W of the season over Philadelphia. And I think that just killed everybody because no one wants to talk.
I got the Lions over the Eagles.
Oh, great. That means if Mr. Jones picks them, fucking Philly's going to win. Mr. Jones, are you taking...
I'm walking to the store, so I got to write down my pick.
I heard you, Dave. You picked Detroit. But Mr. Jones, who did you pick? Because it was kind of breaking up there a bit. No. Well, if the Lions win, you're welcome, Detroit. If the Lions lose, blame Roman Reigns because it's his fault. And I can't. And now we can't hear Dave because probably he's outside. And honestly enough, it's Dave's team. Next, it is the 49ers. Oh, Dave's back. I just love how your phone wants to go bloop bloop. It is the 49ers on the road against Chicago Bears. The 49ers are favored by 4.5 points at the moment. I'm guessing it's because the Bears offensively are terrible, and because Mac is now gone, which that kind of does make it a little bit more interesting now that the Bears are without their key defensive player. But here's the problem, though, for 49ers. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks. And I know somebody's going to say, well, look at their win-loss record without Jimmy. Yeah, but he hasn't played well this year. And I hate to say this, most of the offense for the 49ers hasn't played well this year. This is literally, to me, shouldn't even be none of the teams should be favored. This should be a coin flip. This could actually, I'm going to say this because of how bad both teams are equally. It could be a tie. I could see this game being a tie. Does that tell you how worried I am about this game? Dave, but you're the 49er fan here, so I'm going to let you go first. Are you taking your 49ers, or are you going to head over to the Windy City and join CM Punk and the Bears? Taking the 49ers, all right. The man still has faith. Mr. Jones. You're picking the Bears, all right, so it's 1-1. Now, I knew about the injury before I made my pick, so that's why I have to state that when I make it. I am picking Chicago as well, only because of this reason. Even with Mac out, I still trust the Bears' defense more than I trust the Niners' offense at this point. And Justin Fields has not been playing well, not been playing bad. He's been playing average at best. Personally, I think the Bears' offense needs to do what the Panthers did when they drafted Cam Newton. Make a playbook that shows his strengths and hides his weaknesses. If you do that, guess what? You will probably have a better chance at winning. I'm just saying. Now, moving on. We have the Dolphins wrong game. We have the Panthers at the Falcons. Atlanta's favored by 3 points. Alright, here's the thing, guys. Since the Panthers lost McCaffrey, they've been terrible in every game. Their defense has disappeared. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, is McCaffrey that much of an important player on the team? Yes, because without him, the Panthers can't run the ball to save their damn life, and then it depends on Sam Darnold to have to step up more than he should or need to, which then hurts the defense because the defense doesn't get time to rest and they're back out on the field very quickly. So there's that. Atlanta, I'm going to say this, the last 2 games, they didn't choke. They didn't pull on Atlanta Falcons and choke. They actually won the game in the end. Came back to win. And it's in Atlanta. I can't believe I'm saying this. If you would have told me week 1 I would have said this, I would have said you're fucking stupid and you don't get any Halloween candy. But I am taking the Atlanta Falcons at home to beat the Panthers.
Yeah. Let's see.
All right, 2 for the Falcons, Dave.
You know what? I'm going with the Panthers over the Falcons.
Oh, so you're going with the upset here. You think the Panthers can finally turn it around?
Yeah, it's a division game.
It is a division game, that is correct. All right, now to the last 1 o'clock game. And, well, if you kind of figured out, if you know me, this is my lock of the week. It is the Miami Dolphins going to Buffalo. Buffalo was favored by 13.5 points. Now, Buffalo did have a little bit of a hiccup when they played the Titans. They lost that game in a shootout. But even still, Miami just choked the game away against the Falcons. They choked it. Miami looks completely clusterfuck, and this is when I'm getting to the Deshaun Watson thing. Rumor has it that if Tua plays terrible this week, the Dolphins might make the trade to get Watson. Now, rumor has it the Texans have come down on the asking price, but here's the thing as well. Deshaun Watson has in his contract a no-trade clause, so if he doesn't want to be traded, he can say no and it's void. But interesting fact, he said the only team he said he would approve to go to was Miami because Carolina wanted to get him because now they've lost faith in Sam Darnold, but he said no to that. So we might hear before Monday, because remember the trade deadline ends Tuesday at 5 o'clock, I believe, that Deshaun Watson goes from Houston to Miami. With that being said, I think Tua is playing for his job now, because I think if they lose, they're just going to be done with that experiment and just going to get the trade done. And unfortunately, Tua, I'm sorry, you're playing one of the best defenses in the AFC. Your offense is terrible, Miami. Your defense is even worse than that. Your defense is worse than Kansas City. Let that sink in there after how bad we bashed them at the start of this video. So for my lock of the week, I'm taking Buffalo Bills. And remember, pick yourself up some Josh Allen cereal today.
Cereal. I forgot about yours. I forgot yours.
Just get it. Just get it downhill quickly before I move. Dave, I'm sure you're taking Buffalo too, right?
No, I'm taking the Fins. No, I'm taking Buffalo over Fins. Yeah.
2 for the Bills, Mr. Jones. I have a feeling you're not picking Miami. I'm not surprised there. All right, now we got the next 2 games are at 4:05. The first one, it is the Patriots at the Chargers. Chargers are favored by 5 points, which I'm kind of surprised about, but I think it's because of how bad the Patriots blew out the Jets and how bad the Chargers got blown out by the Ravens, respectively. Now, here's the thing. Ironically enough, if the Patriots win this, they're 4-4, and then we're going to be discussing them as a playoff team, maybe. So they might have finally been able to turn the ship around. Chargers need this win because they're still trying to stay in pace with the Raiders, and now they got to try to stay in pace with the Ravens and a few of these other teams that are in the wild card hunt right now. I think the Chargers, though, are the better team. Patriots have the better coach. But I'm going to say the Chargers bounce back. Go, Chargers, go. Get your 5th win of the year and beat New England. But I will say this, though. If the Patriots do win this game, we're going to be talking about how Bill Belichick may have found the next Tom Brady in their quarterback. Which, if that happens, oh dear God, we might see the Patriots fans crawl out of their home like, we got another dynasty again. Give us rings and championships. But give me the Chargers. Dave, who do you got? Chargers or the Patriots?
I got the Bolts over the Patriots. I got the Chargers over the Patriots.
All right. Now, Mr. Jones, are you taking the Patriots or are you going to be going to the electric company? By 5, and it is in Los Angeles. 3 for the Chargers. Oh, I get that wholeheartedly. Now, if you thought me picking the Lions was crazy, wait until you hear this reasoning for this game at 4:05. It is the Jacksonville Jaguars on the road against the Seahawks. Jaguars coming off a bye. Seattle hasn't been able to do anything since Russell Wilson went down. They're actually worse, and it makes you go, oh dear God, why are the Seahawks not signing Cam Newton or Colin Kaepernick or Dan Marino or Terry Bradshaw or Dave? Why they're not signing Dave, or why they're not signing Mr. Jones, why they are not signing Doug Barrett. Because Geno Smith has played like... Seahawks are terrible without Russell Wilson. I think at this point, if they do lose to Jacksonville, they may as well just get ready for the fucking getting a pick in the first round. Because, dear God, they're terrible. And here's the thing. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I didn't think I'd actually say this for the second time this year. I am taking the Jaguars on the road to beat Seattle. I have no faith in Geno Smith at this point. So give me Jacksonville on the road. Dave?
Okay, so first of all, fuck the Seahawks, okay? Get Russell Wilson to we want to face you strong and healthy, and then I had this from upset. The Jacksonville Jaguars get the second win over the 12th man in Seattle. So go Jaguars!
Oh wow! So, Mr. Jones, will you be taking the Seahawks and trying to put faith in Geno Smith, or will you be all elite and join us with the Jaguars?
Super Kick Party.
Into this game.
Damn, we all got the Jaguars.
when he came in, I think they were playing the Rams, and he threw an interception that cost them the game. Then when they played Pittsburgh, Geno Smith fumbled in overtime that cost them the game. And then he just played bad against the Saints on Monday. I agree. I'm not... You're all going for the Jags. Oh, God. That's horrifying. Then again, it's almost Halloween, so it works perfectly. All right, next, we're heading to Denver for one of two games at 4:25, as it is the Denver Broncos at home against the Washington Emails, if you get that, wink, wink. Also known as the Washington Redskins, Washington football team, Washington... Hey, we're covering up all the emails except for the one that got Gruden fired. Now, here's the thing. Broncos, I'm disappointed in because I thought they would have easily bitch-slapped the Browns with how bad the Browns are banged up, but the Broncos got bitch-slapped. Washington kind of hung in there with Green Bay for a first half, and then, well, they imploded. If this was any other team, because this was a hard one, and Denver's favored by 3, but I'm going to say this. Maybe I'm being crazy, but I'm taking Washington on the road. I just feel Denver is not trustworthy right now, and that's sad because I like Teddy Bridgewater. But I don't know if it's the defense, I don't know if it's the head coach. It is the head coach for Denver. That I just don't trust. So give me Washington on the road to beat the Denver Broncos.
You go, sir. Alright, well, this is hard because did I go for that quarterback for the Redskins or did I take Bridgewater, the veteran? So, Broncos got them back after running in the game. But you know what? I can fuck it. I got the Redskins going to Colorado and kicking the horse's asses. So, go Redskins.
Good thing there's marijuana's leg on Denver because they might need some. All right, Mr. Jones, who do you got? Fair enough. All right, the last game at 4:25. It is the Buccaneers at the Saints. Tampa Bay's favored by 5.5 points. Now, even with all of Tampa Bay's injuries on defense and offense, they're still winning because Tom Brady's not hurt. Saints are up and are 4-2. This is kind of an important game for the Saints because if they do win this one, they can still win the division. Maybe if the Saints lose this game, Tampa Bay probably will not lose the division. And Tampa Bay needs this game as well because, they're 6-1, yes, but they're not the number 1 seed. They're not. That would be Arizona, and here's the problem as well for the Bucs. The Bucs are not even the 2nd seed. They are the 3rd seed because the Rams beat them. So Tampa Bay needs some help if they want to try to get that number 1 seed because I think personally it'd be easier for Tampa to play if they have home field advantage in the NFC. But Saints, like we said, they're up and down. They also didn't look great in the win against Seattle. Tampa Bay looks like they're a monster still. And So give me the Bucs on the road against the Saints. Until the Saints can prove to me they're actually worthy of beating the Brady and the Bucs, I'm not picking them to win this. So give me the Buccaneers.
Alrighty. Well, I'm going back to where this one. It's a division game. So it's like, I pick Jason Winston, the GOAT, Tom Brady. You know what? I want my gut on this. I'm going with the upset with the Saints over the Bucs.
Ooh, interesting. So 1-1 here. All right, Mr. Jones, are you joining me in becoming a pirate of the Caribbean? Are you going to be doing when the Saints go marching in? No, I think you had it right the first time. Captain Planet. And remember, recycle. Captain Planet will fucking kill you. That too. Alright, so now we get to the Sunday night game, which of course is my Dallas Cowboys at 5-1, taking on the 3-3 Vikings in Minnesota. Dallas is favored by 1.5 points, which I'm kind of surprised we're kind of only favored by that. I thought it would have been a little bit higher since Minnesota has been up and down this year, particularly with how they've been up and down. Plus, Kirk Cousins in primetime games does not have a winning record in primetime games. He has a losing record in primetime games. It's like Kirk Cousins, when it's not primetime or when the light's on bright in a big game, he shows up. But when it's primetime or big games, he has not shown up in the past. What's also funny, ESPN is saying Minnesota has a 48.9% chance to win this game. Vikings will be without a few players. Dallas has 2 people on injured reserve, 3 questionable, but they're probably all going to play. Dak's going to play because he has looked good in practice. The injury doesn't look like it's affecting him. We did have the bye week last week, and all that. Both quarterbacks are kind of even when it comes to passing. Elliott's the better running back in the situation of look at the yards. Now, what hurts Dallas in this situation is the fact of, well, Dallas does do a lot of stupid fucking penalties to shoot themselves in the foot. But here's the key thing. Now, by the way, we all know I'm picking Dallas, obviously. But just to help Dave and Mr. Jones here. Points per game. The Cowboys get 34.2 points a game. Vikings only get 24. Points allowed, they're about even. Dallas gives up about 24.3. Vikings give up 22.8. So, defensively, they're about the same. But offensively, Dallas has the better weapons. As far as for total yards, Dallas leads that at 470.2 to 424.5. The yards allowed, they're both the same as well. They're a little bit closer. Dallas's defense gives about 397. Vikings give up 382. But what is interesting now, Dallas gives up more passing yards, but the Vikings give up more rushing yards in this matchup. And as far as for the Vikings, if you look at who they've played, they beat Carolina in overtime. They had to beat Detroit thanks to a kicker. They couldn't do anything offensively against Cleveland. They beat Seattle, but hey, Seattle had problems. And they did lose to Arizona as well. So, if you think about it, the only 2 teams they played with a winning record, they lost to both. And the other 3 teams, well, they lost to Cleveland, who has in Arizona. They beat Seattle, who we can admit right now is not good. Detroit hasn't won a game. And Carolina, well, since McCaffrey got hurt, they suck. Dallas, you could kind of make the same argument, excluding the Chargers and right now maybe New England. The other 3 teams do not have a winning record. So, I get what everyone would say, schedule, but, I'm taking Dallas. Kirk Cousins, like I've said before, I think you're the most overrated quarterback in the NFL. I think you've pretty much robbed the city of Minnesota of all that money, which I don't hate you for that because, hey, you fought them and they paid you all that money. Personally, I think if I'm Minnesota, I would get rid of Kirk Cousins and sign Cam Newton, or heck, try to get Deshaun Watson. Couldn't do any worse. All right, Dave. Now, you hate the Cowboys, but The funny thing is, you need Minnesota to lose more than Dallas, because Minnesota's ahead of you in the wild card hunt.
Yeah, this is tough to see because I have fucking Kirk Cousins in my fantasy draft. My fantasy.
Oh God. You poor bastard.
I'm 5-2 with him right now. 5-2 with him right now.
How the fuck are you 5-2 with him? He's got like one of the worst. Oh, everybody else who's got Kirk Cousins is like only has one win. Because I know one other person who has him. You must have good receiving running backs to help on that fan.
Yeah, Devontae Adams.
That would do it.
But he's not playing. But anyway, this is tough. Do I go with the Vikings or do with the Cowgirls? And I'm like, what do I do? I've been doing this all day, thinking all day. I hate to say it, but I don't know, man. I'm going with the Vikings over Cowboys. Shut the Cowboys fans up. We're going to Super Bowl. We're going to Super Bowl this year.
Okay, I have not said that, so don't add me to that category with the fellow Cowboy fans. I haven't said shh.
No. They want people to get the Super Bowl ring. We're going to win the Super Bowl this year.
Maybe.
Hey, I mean the Vikings over Cowboys on Halloween night, and so Kirk Cousins, don't fuck up.
So you think? So you're going with Kirk Cousins finally proves me wrong and wins on a prime time game.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Jones. It's now to you. Are you taking Dallas, or are you going to go with Dave and go with that? Kirk Cousins finally wins an important prime time game. Well, the Vikings did play the Cardinals and Browns, and they lost to them. Those are the only two legit teams the Vikings have played so far. Cowboys, all right.
My neighbor downstairs is a Cowboys fan, so
No, I think that was to me because Dave said he wants the Cowboys to lose because a lot of the Cowboy fans have said they're going to go to the Super Bowl because of their record.
No, my neighbor downstairs is a Cowboys fan. He got the Cowboys jersey, he got the Cowboy hat.
Well, I do too, but I will say this to my fellow Cowboy fans out there: just because we're 5-1, don't act like we're going to win the Super Bowl. Because let's remember, if we do win the division, we're still going to have to figure out how to get by the Rams, the Buccaneers, and the Packers, and maybe Arizona. So let's not. So we do not have an easy road to get in the playoffs if we make it. We do. So yeah. So don't. Let's just be happy if we win the division. Baby steps.
Yeah. We're going to Super Bowl. Let's get tattooed. No.
Now, if we can beat. Now, I will say this. If we.
This lady drives by every day. I know about those Cowboys. I'm going to go Super Bowl. Shut the fuck up, lady. Go.
Now, if Dallas does beat the Buccaneers, Rams, or Packers, or Arizona in the playoffs, then you can start saying Super Bowl bound. But until then, other fellow Cowboy fans, shut the fuck up and just enjoy the fact we're 5-1 and we're so far ahead in our division. We might be able to lose 1 or 2 games and still win the fucking division.
I got money for the Buffalo Bills going to Super Bowl. I got like 50 bucks on the Buffalo going to Super Bowl.
You never bet money, children. You will lose every time. Going to the Monday night game now. It is the 2-5 Giants taking on the 3-4 Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are favored by 9.5 points, which I don't know fucking why. Neither team has a defense. Patrick Mahomes has been playing bad the last few weeks. He has an interception in every game. Giants are so banged up, it's hilarious. I'm surprised Dave's not playing for him at this point. He could probably get a starting job there. Hell, me and Mr. Jones could too. That's tell you how about the Giants. Oh, now I'm going to say this. This will be. I think this could be quite possibly worse than the Seahawks Saints game. Because at least with that game, you could say, okay, Geno Smith's a backup. Bad weather. Neither team's really looking good or healthy. That's why the Saints traded to get the old running back back.
But it's supposed to rain Monday too.
It's supposed to rain Monday. Both teams have a shitty defense.
In New York.
No, it's in Kansas City. Both teams have a shitty defense. Both teams are shit, period, in my opinion. I can't believe I'm saying that. Because the Chiefs just won a Super Bowl a few years ago. And they won the Super Bowl last year. But...
No, they didn't. No, they didn't win last year.
No, I said last year they won the Super Bowl. The year before that they won the Super Bowl. I am picking Kansas City here. Because I trust Mahomes more than I trust Jones. But if you were to ask me, do I think the Giants can win this game? Yes, just because of how bad defensively the Chiefs are. So again, I don't get why this is a 9-point favorite for Kansas City. This should be a hell of a lot lower. I'd say if you're going to favor Kansas City, this should be a 3-point favorite, and that's me being generous. Who wants to go next?
I got the Giants over the Chiefs in Kansas City.
Oh, wow.
In Arrowhead Stadium.
Yeah, I can't really blame them because even I thought about maybe picking the Giants for a little bit. That's why I said I could see the Giants winning this, and not an alternate reality. I could legit see them winning this because of how bad Kansas City's defense is, particularly how bad they couldn't stop the run.
If I go undefeated this week, I'll be proud of you guys. Kinda, I'll be close to you guys. If I go undefeated this week, if I go undefeated, I'll be close to you guys.
You pretty much have to go undefeated this week. And next week.
Yeah. Cardinals beat the Packers.
You said that. Now, Mr. Jones, who do you have in the Giants Chiefs? Just a... Damn. Fair enough. Can't argue with that logic. I can't. So those are the picks for this week, but let's get to some college games in case you wanted to know. On Thursday, you can watch 4-3 Troy at number 24 Coastal Carolina, who just lost their first game and lost any hope of a playoff spot, on ESPN2 at 7:30 tomorrow night. Also on ESPN at 7:30, South Florida versus East Carolina. On Friday, you can watch Navy take on Tulsa on 7:30 on ESPN2. And you can watch UNLV, who has not won a game, taking on the 5-2 Nevada on CBS Sports at 10 o'clock on Friday. On Saturday, North Carolina takes on number 11 Notre Dame. Number 2 Cincinnati takes on Tula. The big matchup of this, the big early matchup of this week on Fox at 12 o'clock. 7-0 Michigan taking on 7-0 Michigan State. The winner of this game will probably keep their playoff hopes alive. Loser of this will probably miss the playoff. Number 9 Iowa takes on Wisconsin. That's a big game for Iowa because they got to keep hope up. Number 16 Baylor takes on Texas. This is probably one of the surprising teams so far this year. Number 17 Pittsburgh is at home against Miami. Maryland will play Indiana. Rutgers plays Illinois, and again, that doesn't really mean much. Number 22 Iowa State plays West Virginia, y'all. Moving on to the afternoon games. Number 1 Georgia takes on Florida, which could be an interesting game. Number 4 Oklahoma takes on Texas Tech. Number 7 Oregon takes on Colorado, on that one on Fox. And as far as for your important late game matchups, which will be the evening games. 4 o'clock game. An undefeated Wake Forest, number 13 in the country, takes on Duke. Wake Forest can kind of maybe still a playoff spot, we'll see. Ole Miss takes on Auburn in a battle of whoever loses that game at 7 o'clock has no playoff hope. Kentucky, who's 6-1, has a chance to still make the playoff, but they play against Mississippi State. 7 o'clock on ESPN2, SMU, who is undefeated but ranked 19th in the country, takes on Houston. As far as for your night games, your most important ones, Number 20, Penn State takes on number 5, Ohio State. If Penn State loses this, they would be out of the top 25 because they would have their third loss, and pretty much any hope of a playoff will be dead. Ohio State needs this one to keep a lot of playoff hopes alive because they know they're ranked 5. Well, remember, the official list, the first playoff list, the first playoff list comes out next week on Tuesday from the committee. So starting next week, we're going to be seeing the rankings reflect who they think will make who will be in the playoff. So that's why every game's important, but even now more so. BYU at 10:15 takes on Virginia, game that's kind of important. San Diego State, who's undefeated, takes on Fresno State on CBS Sports, and the last game on FS1, 3-4 Washington takes on 3-4 Stanford. Now, of course, with that being said, of course, this is when I start giving out my top 4 who I think will be in the playoffs. So, who do I have being in the playoff at this moment? Because I will go from 6 to 1. 6 and 5, remember, they will be on the outside looking in. Number 6, Alabama. The reason they're going at number 6, and I'm sure a lot of people are going to be pissed at me about that, they have 1 loss. I still think they're a better team than some of these other undefeateds, but they got 1 loss, and I think some of the other teams who are undefeated right now should still be ahead of them. By the way, Ohio State would also be behind them, so that's why you're not going to hear Ohio State in the top 6 for me. Number 5, another team on the outside looking in. And I'm only saying this for right now because of the fact of one of these two would be eliminated because of this weekend. I'm going to spot. If Michigan wins, it probably would move up a bit in the rankings, in my humble opinion. So that gives me to who I have in the playoff. Number 4, Oklahoma. Personally, I don't trust the quarterback situation. It's been up and down, but they have a good defense. I think that will help them get in. Number 3. This one might surprise people a bit because I think I have them highly rated more than a lot of other people, and I think it's because a lot of people don't trust the SEC that much anymore. Undefeated Wake Forest. I think they should get some recognition. I don't think they're going to, unfortunately, because, it's Wake Forest. If it was Clemson or somebody else in there, they'd get more looked at. So that brings me to 2 and 1. Number 2, the Cincinnati Bearcats. No, not Keith Lee. Cincinnati's undefeated. I think that the committee might look down on them a bit because they play in the American Atlantic Conference, which is what's kind of funny is in their conference, Houston, who's undefeated, Houston in the conference is ranked higher than them, but Cincinnati's undefeated. And then, of course, number 1 is, of course, Georgia. They do play in the SEC as much as I hate fucking saying it. But they're undefeated. I have to put them there, the same with Cincinnati. Now, as far as for some of these other teams, Michigan State, like I said, if they do beat Michigan, I'd probably put them ahead of a lot of other teams. If they don't, Michigan State's out. Ohio State, for me, because they lost to Oregon, I have Oregon ahead of them a bit, but I think it's going to come down to how they play the rest of the way, how they get ranked. As far as for my Fighting Irish, you lost to Cincinnati. That kind of helps you in the sense if you can still win the rest of the way and Cincinnati's undefeated, you could make the argument, hey, your only loss was to the number 1 ranked 2 team in the country. We'll see if that gets you in the playoff. But I think you would need some help from some other teams, like Alabama would need to lose again. Michigan would either have to lose in the conference championship game or win it, depending who they go against, and a few other things. I don't know if Notre Dame will make it, but they'll probably be ranked in the top 10 through the rest of the way after this week. Wake Forest, who I have highly ranked, I don't think the committee is going to give them that much credit. Same with SMU. I'm expecting a lot of these teams that usually don't get talked about much won't get the respect from the playoff committee because they're going to either say, oh, your strength of schedule, or you're you're from a small conference in SMU's case, Wake Forest case. I'm going to be honest, so most years they suck. This is actually the first time they've been good in a long, long time. But because they're not Clemson, I think they're going to get screwed. But that is the college and the pros for this week. This is a quick recap before we go. In Major League Baseball, as the World Series is going on for that, I drink more of my energy drink so I can make sure to do streams. The game has went final. The Houston Astros beat the Braves 7-2, so the game is tied. Their next game is on Friday, October 29th, in Atlanta on Fox. So guess what, all you WWE fans? SmackDown will be on FS1 this week. Which I'm sure that would piss off my stepfather very much. But hey, we have it set to DVR. As far as for you hockey fans, by the way, congratulations to the Seattle Kraken for winning their first home game a few nights ago. Panthers beat the Bruins 4-1. Red Wings beat the Capitals 3-2. Maple Leafs beat the Blackhawks 3-2. The Golden Knights beat the Stars 3-2. And currently on TNT, it is the Flyers and Oilers tied at 3-3. And for your NBA news of the night, because apparently basketball season's on, aka fuck the Lakers. Remember, children, if you don't get what you want for Halloween, you can blame LeBron James. It's a scientific fact. There was a study done at Stanford that LeBron James, everything in the world's problems is on LeBron James. Hashtag fuck LeBron James. And I'm sure everybody in Ohio would agree with me, right, Mr. Jones? If he's... as far as for the NBA, Suns lead the Kings 61-57 in the third period. Also in the third period, Grizzlies lead the Trailblazers 57-51. Cavaliers are beating the Clippers in the second period, or second quarter. So as for the games that went final, Hornets beat the Magic 120-111. Wizards beat the Celtics 116-107. Heat beat the Nets 106-93. The Raptors beat the Pacers 118-100. Hawks beat the Pelicans 102-99. Oh my god, there might have been defense in that game. Timberwolves beat the Buffs 113-108. And the Thunder beat the Lakers 123-115. The Lakers lost, so all is glory. Now before we go, we always like to look ahead to next week in the NFL, week number 9. So let's see what we have as the most important games for week 9 in the NFL season. Alright, oh my god. The Thursday night game of week 9. The Jets at the Colts. That's a train wreck. My Cowboys are at home against the Broncos, so that should be a bounce back game. Vikings play the Ravens in week 9, so that could be interesting. Browns and Bengals face off in week 9 as well, so that could be a divisional match for the early division thing, because Cincinnati is 2-0 in the division right now, so if they beat Cleveland, they'll be 3-0 in the division. The 49ers are at home against Arizona. Sunday night's game in week 9 will be the Titans at Rams, so that would definitely be a good game. And your Monday night game for week 9, Bears at Steelers, so that could be a little bit interesting depending on what happens this week. Of course, for you masochists out there who want to watch shitty games, Bills are on the road against Jacksonville, and the worst game of this season will happen next week, as it is the Houston Texans against the Miami Dolphins. So either A, somebody's going to get their second win of the season, or B, we're going to see a tie. I would love to see what Vegas has who's the favorite in that game when we do the picks next week. Who's favored, the Texans or the Dolphins? Probably nobody. Maybe the weather will be favored. Alright, now of course normally at this situation I would be doing the Cowboys-Vikings game, but we'll be doing that game tomorrow night after the Packers and Cardinals, because as many of you know who follow me on Twitter, I am at 31,999 trophies. So what we're going to do a game that will let me hit that 32,000 mark in a few minutes after I've rested my voice and go to the bathroom. So Devil May Cry 5. Since that is my Let's Play, we're gonna get that back to it. So until then, see you guys in a few minutes. Good luck to your teams this week. I would like to thank Dave and Mr. Jones for joining me tonight in the picks, and we'll see you all next week for more NFL pick action.